have that, he says, you're not worthy of me. Christianity is not easy. Christianity is hard. You must deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me, Jesus said. That's not easy. He says, follow me to the cross. That's not easy. He's gone before and He showed us the way. And we're headed in the same direction. And we have to have the same dedication that Jesus did. Let's not be like Peter. Let's not be like Peter. Oh, Jesus, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some Galilean carpenter or something. I don't know. I've never heard of him. Let's not be like that. Let's not be like that. Yes, Jesus is my Lord. Cut off my head. Burn me at the stake. Nail me to a cross. Whatever it requires. Deny myself. I give up wealth and fame and riches and pleasure. Give it up. Because I want to go to heaven. Because that is eternal. This life is fleeting. And God will punish me if I do not obey Him. What was sown on rocky ground is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. So there's a beginning. He believes. Belief is not your ticket to heaven. Steadfastness is your ticket to heaven. Belief is a beginning. Steadfastness is continue to believe until death and be serving Him until death. As for what was sown on the rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and receives it. He's starting believing. Receives it with joy, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while, and then when tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, immediately falls away. He couldn't endure it. He didn't understand the value. He didn't deny himself enough in order to endure until death. And what happened? There was no fruit. What happens to an unfruitful branch? An unfruitful branch is cut off, gathered into bundles, and cast into the fire. So these two that fell among the thorns and among the stones didn't produce any fruit. The unfruitful branch is cast out and burned. So believing is not enough. Believing is necessary, and it gets you started, but it won't get you there if you give it up. That initial belief is not sufficient. It must be followed by patient endurance. In your patience, you have your souls. And you must endure tribulation. You must endure hardships and affliction. God does not promise us that we're going to have health, wealth, and fame in this life. Do you remember the story of the rich man and Lazarus? What happened to Lazarus? Wasn't he a beggar? He wasn't even able to work. Not only could he not find a job, he couldn't work if he could find one. And he was laid outside of the gate of a rich man, and he hoped that when that rich man went in and out, that he might have a little pity on him and give him a little money, a little food, or something that he could live on. And not only that, he was sick. He was sick. And the dogs came, and they licked his sores. He was sick. Now, none of us are in that situation. We're able to walk. Most of us have jobs. And we're able to gather here this morning, and our bodies are not covered in sores. This man served God, and he may have died sitting at that gate waiting for the rich man to give him something to eat. And the angels came, and they took him to Abraham's bosom. Now you take that man. God was pleased with his being faithful unto death. What if he said, Lord, how can you do this to me? I've tried to serve you my whole life, and now you reduce me to sitting by a gate hoping to get some crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. And hoping that some means of staying alive. And the dogs are coming, they're licking my sores. How can you do this to me? I'm trying to serve you. How can you do this to me? He didn't do that. He didn't do that. He knew that life was hard. He knew that it's appointed unto man once to die. And after that, the judgment. God does not promise us that we're going to have health, wealth, and fame in this life. He promises us that if we're faithful unto death, then we'll receive a crown of life. That's what He promises. So here was a man who had virtually nothing and died in poverty, died in misery, and yet he didn't deny God. He didn't give up his faith that God would take care of him, that God existed, and that God would raise the dead, and that God was just, and that He would reward him for his faithful service.